What is up with it? Welcome to Melee It On Me. What a throwback. My goodness. Melee It On Me, the podcast? Welcome to the show. I'm here joined by, oh, dang, some legends. Blur, how did you make it into my show? Did you ever have an MIOM tag?
Never have, never will. Too good for it.
I have to say, looking at
Can you tell me why you're here then?
there's way too much blur on the schedule for today. I feel like if Toph was here, we could have just cut.
Let's be honest.
Cut blur from
A
the thing.
lot of people have tried.
Blur on Millionaire. This is too much.
A lot of people have tried Melee podcasts, and yet somehow they're never good without me. So that's why I'm here, to give quality to the
I remember
pod.
Melee It On Me season 1. I remember season 2. I don't think
no one watched any of it.
They were, well, the who's who of the day watched it. Okay, Blur. Like, you may only know the metrics and numbers here in 2022, but I come from Melee It On Me. Comes from an age where the blur was nothing.
What are you
Who was
talking about?
I was
on most of those season 1 and season 2 episodes. And 2012, everyone knew who I was.
No one knew who you were. We actually made you famous. It's like not even a joke.
This is
not for Melee It On Me.
Bobby, I'm going to steer this podcast since you're
I'm also joined by TO Legends, Juggle Guy. How have you been, my man? As well as Sheridan. Tafo, were you ever a legendary TO?
I did the Campbell series.
Yeah.
I did Smashpocalypse.
You guys were legends for like 5 installments of Campbell and Smashpocalypse, respectively. And
I did 9 installments, Rob, but
okay.
It was a regional. I don't know anything about this national and international.
I just noticed that we have the top 3 TOs all time on the top row.
No.
Number 1 right in the middle. It's like in the Olympics, right?
Come on.
Silver and bronze, just like
on the pedestal right next to early in the show. I can't handle this.
Just pointing it out. It's really
we're not going down this path.
Good to
Bobby, can I ask you something?
I believe Austin Bailey made...
And also Toast here with a question.
Blur was placed in the top 10 of all time.
No, he was an honorable mention.
He was number 10. He was number 10. He was number 10. And Blur takes offense to this at TOing. And he takes offense to this. He says top 10's not good enough for the Blur. I've never been in the top 10 of anything. I don't know what he's so upset about. What do you think about being upset at being a number 10? You're number 69 of all time.
Being ranked on a list made not by you is a privilege. And to complain about that is not something that I would ever really consider, you know? It's not up to me to place myself. It's up to you. It's all of your opinions that matter. My opinion matters least when I'm ranked somewhere. So I think it must take a very egotistical mind to
understand, Bobby. You're
take issue with other people trying to give you an honor.
Criticizing your ego. I don't understand where the hypocrisy comes from.
Blur, sometimes I get rated number 1 most attractive smasher of the year. Sometimes I get rated number 8. Sometimes I'm not even on the list. And I don't complain in any of those 3 situations. Okay, Blur? I feel honored to be on the list that I'm on.
What weird lists. People are weird.
I'm just saying. That's the facts. On our agenda today, we want to talk about how's life. What's something outside of Smash that you've been up to, which I'm not so interested in. I want to talk about controllers.
Please. We can gloss past it. We can kind of make it a quick one.
Go ahead and exit this.
Everyone do the rounds. Do one quick thing. Okay, starting with Rob. One thing. Don't make it long.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I've been coaching middle school volleyball, and that's been super fun.
That's really cool, actually.
They're like 13-year-old girls who really have high energy, but they lack focus, and I need to rein them in. Right? It's like if they were to grow up to be smashers one day, they'd be the type of people who never get off the friendly setups after I say stop your friendlies 100 times. But they're like very talented, and
that's a good sign, and
it's a good challenge to try to solve. Yes.
You start with the energy, but then you, Rob, are going to add that discipline. And if you have energy plus discipline, then great things can happen.
Great things can happen. Yes. I've been trying to introduce
one without the other
too. I introduced a no Johns mentality to the team. That's number 1. They have no idea who John is, but I'm no Johns. And also I've been using like little melee terms like skirmish, like net skirmishes. You know, we got to do this and that.
How do you get started in volleyball coaching? Like, what's the step 1?
I've been playing for years. I just don't really talk about it because why would it come up in a Melee conversation, right? But yeah,
it's something
like
else that's sick and competitive that you do. I think
exactly.
should be a question that comes up more.
I feel like I gotta scratch my itch of like telling people to stop your friendlies, but like do it in a more productive way and see these people grow as players and athletes. So that's what I've been up to.
Wow,
that's dope. I know other people here have been doing non-melee things that are semi-competitive.
I've been playing a lot of ice hockey.
That is at least, we always talk about ice hockey on Melee and Omni, I think.
Yeah.
What's the season?
I'm playing on 3 teams this season. So
oh my god,
3?
as much as I can. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. What if one of the teams has to go up against one of the other teams?
They're in different leagues.
What are you going to do?
Well, they're in different leagues, so they won't play each other.
How many days of the week are you ice hockeying?
2 days a week, but sometimes I have 2 games in one day.
Holy smokes.
Jesus Christ.
Holy smokes. Look at you. Blur?
Am I doing?
This is the answer I'm the most interested in. This is the answer I'm the most interested in. Right? For some reason.
It's like lately I've been I've been discovering a community that I didn't even know really existed.
Oh.
It's kind of like the Melee community, and I kind of like it like that. Did you guys know that people have been like making like Doom mods for like 30 years? So I've been like the old school classic Doom. I've been playing like a lot of that stuff. Like, so I've just been playing like Doom 1, Doom 2. Like,
all right, I have to ask an embarrassing question, Blur. What's the difference between Doom and Quake? Are they the same game? Are they different?
No, different game. So Doom is like the first real like big FPS, I'd say. Before there was Wolfenstein 3D and then there was Doom. Doom's crazy good.
Yeah.
And basically some of the levels, like they're like the hardest things you could do in games. Like they're just basically like Kaizo Mario level of like just like fucked up shit. But FPS style. So I don't know. It's cool to see just to like watch people who are like crazy good at the game and like can do like those mad levels and try some of this stuff for myself, because I've like dabbled in almost every hardcore competitive community, and just seeing like a bunch of like 45-year-olds who like don't play any other games but like play this thing like religiously, and they only play this thing religiously. I'm just like, oh, that's just us.
You understand that. And
that's gonna be us in 15 years, you're saying?
Yeah, the wavelengths are like so the same that I'm just like, I could totally get it. You know?
Have you read the book Masters of Doom?
That's a cool name.
I really want to. I think
I read it a couple months ago. Just learning about the history of how Doom was developed, and John Romero and John Carmack. Really, really amazing book. I mean, it came out like 15 years ago, so it's still ancient history, but it's great. It's a great story, super well written. I encourage anybody who's interested in just like the early history of gaming to read it, because it's fascinating.
Okay, I'm down.
I think I have less than like 20 10 out of 10s that I've ever played in terms of single player games, and Doom's one of them. Doom 1 is crazy good.
Yeah. John Romero is basically like a level design savant.
That game's a masterpiece. It's fucking absurd. But yeah, so I've been doing that. I don't know. I always find myself in these weird corners of the internet that I just find really cool.
I didn't know that you find yourself in those types of really cool corners of the internet. I was actually really expecting you to have a troll answer, Blur.
Me too.
No, it's a real
when you
answer.
wound up that answer, you were like, you're basically putting on the red squeaky nose ear. You know what I mean? The clown nose.
I'm a serious man.
But that actually sounds super legit. It reminds me of like summoning salt stuff, which I think is 20 out of 10. I love like history of subcultures.
So there's a bunch of good YouTube channels where you can start getting into it, but I think someone could make a summoning salt channel about this sort of stuff, and it would do really well.
About what sort of stuff? About Doom?
Just Doom modding. Yeah, like dude, it's like literally 30 years of this shit. Like, it's crazy. The history of it's actually really cool. It's one of the coolest gaming communities.
I wouldn't be surprised if Summoning Salt puts out a video like that.
Yeah. I mean, it invented speedrunning. Speedrunning exists because of Doom. It invented it, so that's crazy.
But it took off because of Siglemic.
There's a major way.
Yeah.
There's also
I learned about it through Siglemic, so that's why that's my canon, my head canon. Mario 64, the ultimate speedrunning game.
I think most people did. He was big in Justin TV days, right? Like, so Siglemic.
Apple, how you been, my man?
I've been doing well, but I just want to add to the conversation that
You realized you were muted for a while. You unmuted yourself.
I muted because it's just really hard to jump in.
Okay.
And I felt like this is my one time to give my clip. But what was it? Core 8 Gaming actually put out an interesting video about Gongmur games, which is like translates to still water in Korean, and it's just people who relish in playing really, really old games. And the analogy is that like the water has become so still and dirty because it just accumulates this like stuff over time. But we're that genre of players. Yeah, but I'm doing well. Been busy in the esports grind, left my job, and so I have 3 COVID nieces / nephews that have accumulated in my family over the past year, so just spending time with them, visiting family. So that's been cool.
Yeah, this is a COVID generation of kids where like just one day you went inside and never went outside without a mask.
Yeah.
It's a crazy world.
One day I want to talk to you about what it's like being a father during these times, Bobby.
Oh yeah, we could definitely talk about it.
That seems crazy. I'm always curious.
I don't know anything else, so I can't compare it to normal.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Toph? How you feeling, my man? It's been a couple days since I spoke to you, but before that, it had been like months.
I'm just interested in watching the movie that you told me to watch. Did you finish it?
I did finish it. Yeah, definitely. What's it called? Okay. Coherence.
I'm going to watch it
Oscar
next
recommended
week.
it to me.
Everything Lovage has ever recommended me in terms of fiction has been like really mind-bending and interesting.
Coherence, free on Prime Video.
Coherence, free on Prime Video. I'm gonna watch it on stream. I think sometime next week. If it's on Prime Video, I can watch part of it. Ooh. Thanks to the wonderful features of brought to us by the product managers at Twitch.tv.
My dog's barking.
I wanted to shout out all those people.
Surreal sci-fi psychological thriller.
You know what? Why he gave me that recommendation in the context of me like cold calling him and talking to him about, hey man, did you ever realize like in the Matrix when that dude comes up to Neo's door and like they make that trade, and at the end of that conversation, he kind of tells him about this drug. It's like mescaline. He says it's the only way to fly. But did you realize that Neo flies at the end of the movie? So it's like a thing.
Oh, it's not the only way.
It hit me like a lightning bolt, and I just called Oscar instantly, like on the bat phone.
That's foreshadowing.
And I think he said, like, yeah, he did hear about it.
You had to watch The Matrix like 40 times to pick up on that, probably. That probably went over your head the first 39 times.
When it hit me, I was walking my dog. I was nowhere near the movie.
Oh, wow.
It just came into my head.
You remember that?
It just came into my head. It's the only way to fly. I just think that's
I'm still I don't know. I'm hesitant to watch the new Matrix movie. I don't know if I should.
I would say watch it.
Watch it anyways. Okay.
I would say watch it. Yeah.
Just to know, right? If nothing else.
I watched it, and if I didn't watch it, like there are movies that I have abstained from watching, and I haven't regretted it. But I've also never watched it, so I don't know if I would regret it. But I have watched this movie, and if I abstained from watching it, I would regret it. I would feel bad about it if I saw it like later, and I was like, "Oh, I kind of just totally didn't even care."
So I regret is I didn't see 2 or 3, so and I still watched this one, so I feel very lost coming out of the theater.
2 or 3 are underrated, especially 2.
I didn't watch 3.
2 is not that bad.
I watched 2.
2 is actually good, I'd say. Well, it's all right. 2's all right. 3 is confusing. But
all right, right now we're talking about the Matrix, but what if we switch topics to
controllers? I
have one other topic that I can bring up if you don't want to talk about controllers.
Now, to be fair, you did bring up. Well, actually, I brought it up with coherence, but no, let's talk about controllers. I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
What is the blah? Can I tell you why it's relevant for me to bring this up right now? Mm-hmm. Okay, the first major issue that Melee on Me tackled was it was like a violent attack at a tournament. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't controllers at all. Yeah,
we came to, but the backdrop was people were saying like, "What do we do as a community? Like, we have no leadership. Like, blah 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 blah." And it's like, no, we do have leadership. Like, we actually do. But what did we do on this show? All we did was it was the worst show too, but it was perfect. I pulled out a Google Doc and I acted like I was in a Zynga meeting, and I just took notes, and we had a discussion, and we had notes, and then we kind of like came to a conclusion. And you had like the thing, and you had the episode that you could watch. I think maybe that's all that's needed. What if we just need to organize a place where people could speak calmly, and I'll have a Google Doc open full screen, and we'll just lay things out. Maybe we don't have to come
Can
to
I
a
be honest with
decision,
you,
but
Bobby? This
I
is
don't.
way more
I
complicated
honestly,
than that.
Blur, you were not invited to Melee on Me because you are a mafia in the conversation. You decrease the conversational hygiene. If I had you in a work meeting, I would just not want your contributions because they distract people. You bring up great questions that need to be like immediately fixed and understood, and then taken out of the discussion. So you would be great for like the opinion shows. That's where I want you.
All those are slander that I know that you don't actually believe. Or at least I'm gonna.
No, I think you're legitimately mafia. I think you're on this show. You said you don't like Melee on Me, never have been, never will be, yet you're here, and we're observing that you're on a lot of features here. You're on camera a lot. So I have a feeling that you may have an alternative motive for being here.
Bobby, you think you can show up once every 6 months, open up a fucking Word document, and solve the most complicated issue in Smash Today and be like, yeah, bro, what if it's just like that? That easy. I'm just like,
well, sometimes the problem is not coming to it's like there's a complex issue and we're not going to come to a perfect decision on it, right? Like, let's just be honest. Bobby, any complex issue, we can't just be like, okay, obviously we should do this. It's a perfect option. Like in Melee, there's no perfect option, but we do need to make a choice. Do we roll up from the ledge or do we go for an edge guard? I don't know. We might get it wrong, but we just want to make a choice. So, and that's what leadership is.
No, here's the thing. Let me tell you what leadership is. Sometimes as a leader, you got to know when your team is carrying you. Sometimes you're not doing very much and the team is carrying you. And I think what you're really good at is pointing people in the right direction, inspiring people, and then the team carries you. And you know who's the team? Yeah, people like me, Bobby. The people
I will agree with you that I am not the one who carries. I will agree with you because I just realized that all I ever did was read what's on the Google Doc. Rob wrote it. I've had no original thoughts on this entire history of Melee on Me. Do you realize that? But I let them carry me. But I also know that your contributions are generally my worst instincts.
Here's what worries me about the controller discussion. What are we trying to do today? Because there is a Google Doc that's been being worked on for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's 17 pages long. It's got comments.
Send me the link. Send me the link.
Oh no.
It doesn't feel like the kind of hit me.
Who is one of the two main people who've been working on it?
You have been working on it. I agree. Okay, I'll give you that. I will give you that.
Send that to me.
I will give you that. I will send it to you. I'll send it to you right now.
Over 100 hours of work. You haven't been in.
You've been putting in work. You've been putting in work. You have.
How do we know it's been you, Arian? I see when I open up that Google Doc, I know Nintendo is the other guy. I see Anonymous Coyote and Anonymous Bat. How do I know that Anonymous Coyote has been doing 50% of the work? Maybe Mike has been doing 99%, and you're just writing your name at the top of the report.
So you're telling me that Blur is neglecting. He said, I'm one of the 2 members of me plus Nintendo teams.
Right, and he failed to mention
literally
that
a Melee teams.
it's a 99-1 split on the workload. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just asking, how do we know?
And these questions are important.
I will never take any credit away from Nintendo. If you want me to, I can, but I still won't.
What a beautiful Blur answer.
But yeah, so no, it's people are working on it, but I don't know if it's going to go anywhere because the primary problems, and maybe this is the part that you can help fix.
What is the primary problem?
The primary problems are people are little babies.
Basically, I don't want to list here. See, if I were leading the discussion, you wouldn't be here. So I would get to say the following, and I want you to focus on this. There are going to be in-person tournaments, and in-person tournaments are run by a TO. For example, the band right here is going to make a decision about it. Right. And then there's going to be the internet where there isn't a centralized TO and there's going to be a different set of expectations there. So what do we do about that? Given that like there is this divergence, how do we like deal with that? See, these are questions that maybe we don't need to talk about controllers so much as like, here's what's happening right now if we do nothing.
I mean, I think it's a major problem. I think competitive integrity has been completely soiled.
Do you want to hear it? Can I drop a hot take?
It's pretty bad, but yeah. Go ahead.
Somebody tell me why it would be bad if we had a Melee schism for the first time in 20 years.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Elaborate.
We just have a melee schism, dude. And like there's one half who's like, hey man, we're red. We're melee red, dude. We're melee Sakurai or something, and like we're melee cat, and then the other half's melee dog. And the cat people, they can use whatever controllers. Use the Dweens. Does anybody want to use Arduinos? You could use the box. And then the other side is like, nah, man, we're not using any of these digital controllers. So it's ridiculous.
Can I talk about this? Because this is a pretty.
That's why you're here, Tafo.
I have a quick answer to the schism question. I have a quick answer before you, because I'm sure your answer is going to be very elaborate. I think one immediate problem with the schism thing is I think a lot of people, myself included, are somewhere in the middle. Like, I don't want pure.
You get to play in both,
UCF,
bro. WCW plus NWO.
But I don't want to play in both. I think both are inferior to arriving at. I don't want everything to be legal, where we're just going crazy with cyborg enhancements. But I also don't want to play on non-UCF.
We'll put a pin in that because I want to ask you about the content.
You're telling me I don't deserve to be in this discussion.
And you're first let Tafo talk. I just want to provide I want to provide a direct answer. I want to provide a.
His first suggestion is
Tafo, you have the floor. Tafo, you have the floor. Tafo, you have the floor.
So this issue. So every time, I don't think we have the luxury of the player base that's large enough to handle this. So for context, in Tetris 99, they had something called the Invictus Lobby, where only winners of Tetris 99 lobbies could play. And it split and hamstrung the lobbies to the point where the player base was so fractured that it just made it extremely hard to get the player base united.
Wait, but how was it split? Was it split on like, here's the good players and here's everybody else?
Yeah, you could choose what game you go into, or like what lobby type you want to get into, and it fractured a lot. And so, like, when your player base isn't large enough to handle fractures, and this is why, like, for League of Legends, this is also an issue. They had flex queue and solo queue, and you just end up with awkward scenarios where everyone just ends up deviating back to one, or maybe that doesn't happen, and you split, and the player base isn't large enough that people just end up leaving.
Our community is not big enough to handle that fracture. I'm going to interject with that.
Why do you think that?
I just do.
I remember the dark ages, Rob. I remember when our community was far smaller than this. But then Destiny called to us. Something happened that reassembled Smashers throughout time into one Twitch stream. Twitch.tv/MeleeAndOnMe. On one fateful day, January 31st, I believe, 2013, we raised $94,000. 96?
94?
Something like that. For breast cancer research. We revived the community, and it was a full story arc. The Melee community refuses to die. Melee will be around far after this controller conflict.
So what's the schism idea? Elaborate on the schism idea.
It's not actually an idea, but what I'm doing that's annoying Blur is I'm just kind of pointing out, hey, this is something that could happen. What could happen is, look, I know I can log into NetPlay and I can use whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? No one can stop me. Can you, at the hardware level, stop me from using like no bans, no Hacks Money bans, Duinos, and doing those backwards jumps that are like impossible?
Actually, that was my idea. Actually, I'm going to interject here. One of the ideas I had that I thought would be really neat. I want, and I know this is a bit of a far shot, like a long shot, but I think it'd be really cool. And I don't want to see. I worry that by saying this, people are going to put it out there. People are going to tweet at Fizzy and be like, "Oh, someone should really be working on this." No, let Fizzy work on Fizzy Rank, please. No one tweet at Fizzy. But I think it'd be really cool if there were controller unit tests. And there was a way.
This is super interesting. Is that possible? Like you're saying, it's possible at the level of Slippy that you could enforce certain.
I think it's already been said publicly, but I may be fucking up Fizzy shit. But that's already been worked on.
And what does that mean?
Part of rank.
What I'm envisioning is software that runs, when you pick your character, basically before you go to the stage select screen, and if you're using like a crazy controller. Like it flashes and it says, "Hey, you're cheating. This guy's cheating." And then maybe for unranked, you just let it slide. Maybe for unranked, you let it slide. But for a tournament, anyway.
Let me talk about what I think.
I think it might be possible.
Real quick.
Let Sheridan talk.
So I think there's actually a precursor to this schism, and I think the history of wobbling has been sort of not quite correctly told. People seem to think that it was like basically banned before Evo came into play, and that's not correct. It was roughly 50-50, and it was basically East Coast and West Coast. West Coast did not ban wobbling, East Coast did. And that schism got solved when Evo came into the picture, right?
Solved.
Yeah, well, it got temporarily, I guess, rejoined or whatever. But so the point
decision was made. Leadership happened. Whether it was the right or wrong. This is what I'm trying to say about whether it was the right or wrong decision now. Because no one, I don't think you can even argue that there is a perfectly right or wrong decision, but it just happened. We all kind of disagreed.
So the point is that a major player came into the scene and basically their influence caused it to be resolved, at least temporarily, right? So I think if you had a controller schism, what would happen is those two paths just continue on in parallel until some other big player enters the scene, and they're going to make their decision about what happens to controllers, and that's going to be the path forward. So it's either we're going to make the decision ourselves as a community, or whoever comes in with the big bucks or whatever is going to make that decision for us.
Yeah. Or no one with big bucks comes in like the past few years, and
which is possible as well.
That's also very possible.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's a circuit type thing that's happening, which there's been rumblings of, right? They're the ones that are.
People need to stop calling things circuits and leagues when they're just not. But continue.
What do you think of that adds to the discussion? Do you think that we should like follow that thread?
Is better.
Maybe we should like change this whole topic to should we name things circuits? Does anybody see what I'm trying to point out here?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, no, because here's the point I'm making is that your shares like if there was a unifying body, I'm like, there's not a unifying body.
Airtime hasn't have to be a unifying body.
No,
just who comes in.
No, Bobby, because you're missing the fucking point. The point.
Why are you talking to me?
Because you're trying to say.
Don't use my name. I'm trying to tell you to stop talking. Listen to Sheridan. Listen to Juggle Guy.
What you're trying to say is my comment was irrelevant.
Welcome to Melee on me, my man.
Oh my God. You're saying my comment was irrelevant. I'm like,
I'm
no.
just inhabiting my 2013
We need to work.
We were talking about how shameless I was. I'm more shameless than you at the end of the day, Blur. That's why they put me on the show. Talk over you.
Are we really trying to make this a workable show?
Throughout the history of the series, favorite Genesis moments. Wow, I remember Genesis 1. I remember when Axe, actually Toph texted me about it, Axe and J-Man. My goodness, how did that happen?
I'm just blown away at how good you are at this, Bobby.
The segues, there's no effort anymore, and I'm here for it, and I love it.
The segues are just you, Rob. You just got these perfect segues for me when
I
back myself
to chaos.
I backed myself into chaos there with Blur, and then
it's so much funnier that way.
It's chaos, dude. I'm trying to make a competent show, Bobby. How about that?
You know why Bobby likes the Axe vs. J-Man memory? It's because if you'll notice in the bracket for Genesis 1, Axe upset J-Man and somebody else upset Axe, and then Scar rode that easy bracket to 6th place. So I'm just gonna say
I resent that.
I'm just gonna say you didn't have to face Axe, you didn't have to face J-Man, you faced
who's to say that my skill on that day was not superior to J-Man and Axe?
Some puff named Raisin who beat Axe. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. You say Raisin?
I said Raisin.
Raceland beat. You remember way too much, Rob. That's actually super funny. Okay, so this is a quality player. You know who else I beat in that bracket? Asian Lep, super good versus Falcon.
You beat
Taj? I beat Taj. I beat Lamb Chops, Falcon Slayer.
Fine. I'll give you that.
You remember how scary Lamb Chops was, Rob, for Captain Falcon back in 2013.
He was.
I think anyone who wants the funniest 6-second video of all time, it's the shortest YouTube tournament upload ever. Go Google Genesis Scar versus Taj. It's a 6-second video.
Yeah.
Only the last 6 seconds of the game got uploaded. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
It's so funny. It's so fucking funny. Anyway.
I was pretty pleased with it. Like, I was actually a little bit upset because I'm trying to watch that
I'd be pleased too if a Marth DI'd him that many times against me. I'd be very pleased.
Is that the combo where you literally use all of Falcon's aerials? All
no,
5?
he uses 2 of them.
That's versus Lamb Chop.
Up air,
but with Taj,
it's
literally plays where
I
do a random forward beat and catch him like forward airing, and I just up air knee, and he died. It's like the easiest combo, but yeah, I was. But that's how people DI'd back then, Toph.
I know.
It was an execution test, and my execution was pretty good for the time.
People DL like that now.
Let's go through some favorite GenAssist memories, and then we got to go to break.
All right.
That's such a shame.
Oh God, favorite GenAssist memories.
I shared mine.
I have one from GenAssist 1. So GenAssist 1 and 2 were in that warehouse out in Antioch, and I don't know. I because back then you didn't get good sleep at majors because you'd be sleeping on the floor with 6 of your buds. So I was taking a nap actually middle of the afternoon on Saturday or whatever. And I came back into the venue and I remember hearing over the loudspeaker, I heard Bobak's voice like, for grand finals, for doubles, grand finals, can we get Mango and Lucky versus Scar and Dark? And I was like, what? That's doubles.
It was M2KJ man.
M2KJ man, thank you. Mango Lucky, you guys beat them. You guys beat them. Yeah. I was very shocked. I remember feeling like, because I had just woken up from a nap and I was kind of groggy. And I was like, that is a weird, wow. Good stuff to you guys.
That was all that was Dark was actually out of control. Gotta watch the videos. Every time I grabbed somebody, I would forward throw or back throw and he would rest them.
Oh, that's so hard to do.
Imagine if it was that easy for me. It's just like this Google Doc being set up by Rob. I just look over and it's all right there for me.
Back throw to rest. I noticed that too. Like, why did that was a very reliable setup, and it intuitive.
He hit everybody.
Happy, yeah.
Yeah, Dark was on another level. How about you, Rob? You have any lined up?
Yep, a very random, funny moment. Not really a memory, but like GenAssist 1, which I wasn't there, but this is in the era of no Twitch, no Twitter, no Smashy, whatever. It's just Smashboards posts randomly. So a group of us following from home, we got impatient. No updates were being posted. So we literally got together in some online chat room, like IRC or some weird shit. And we went down a list of phone numbers of top smashers we knew, and we just started calling them. And finally, Dark Rain picks up, and he asks, like, who the hell is this? And we're like, please, we beg him for like tournament details, like who won Cruise? Is Armada actually good? And I remember with the Armada question, he said, yeah, he's actually pretty damn good. I think he's going to get like top 8 or something. And at the time, we were like, top 8 Armada?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Yeah.
I remember that.
Right. But that was like kind of the first moment where I think back and I get chills. I'm like, whoa, okay. That's when the train started moving here. So
definitely.
Dude, Armada, that was actually one of the really fun parts of GenAssist 1 was watching Armada. Everyone was watching him like, okay, let's see how good this guy is. Because people were talking about Smashboards. The first time he got to play against good players was in the crew battles. And the world crew, which he was on, was down a lot, right? And they were going up against Canada. And Kage, Armada's sitting on the setup, and Kage comes in on the crew battle. And back then, Kage was a big deal, right? Kage was like I would say he was very good back then. And he had like a sword. He had like a prop sword, like a katana. It was like a toy katana or something.
Wow.
And he walks up menacingly, because he's a big dude, and he puts the katana on top of the CRT. Because he knows Armada's, the guy that everyone's hyping up. And he looks at him like, I'm going to crush you. It's super menacing, right? And Armada's just, this kid who doesn't even really speak English. And I was like, oh boy, dude, Kage's going to give this guy the work. I've seen what Kage does to Peaches. Kage gets mercilessly 3-stomped with the sword. It was so embarrassing. After all this, theater... Kage got wrecked. And that's when I was like, all right, well, Armada's fucking, he's the real deal. He's the real
deal. Knowing what we know now, I feel like as soon as you pick Ganondorf versus Armada's Peach, it's like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You've got problems.
But I didn't know. I thought Kage was the favorite in 2009, because I didn't know Armada.
I mean, and Armada has dropped games to Ganons before as
that is true.
Yeah. matchup's not that bad.
Was that with Fox or Peach though? I thought that was his Fox.
Both.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he dropped that game to What Is Fear at G1.
that same tournament. Yeah.
Wait,
and
SoCal Ganon.
Yeah, and then I think it was I'm Not Yelling, where he dropped a game to Biz.
But that was with Fox.
I think that was with Fox.
And then he switched Peach and beat him, I think.
I don't remember if he switched, but yeah,
he did switch. He did switch. Actually, that was the big deal. Was Armada was saying, "I'm going to go all Fox this tournament. I'm completely retiring the Peach." Biz brought the Peach back. I don't know if people realize this because he dropped that game as Fox. It was best of 3. Armada sat there for like 5 minutes, like, "Fuck, am I really unretiring the Peach right now? What's more important to me, my value system and like my like worldview, or winning this fucking set over this Ganon player right now?" And he's like, "All right, fuck it, I'm going Peach." And then the Peach came back, and that was it. And then the Peach existed again.
I have one more memory. It would do a disservice to GenAssist if I had my one memory as the one where I followed at home and not even was there. But I think it was after GenAssist 3 or 4 in the theater, and after losers finals, we were all kind of in disbelief that this Mango versus Armada thing was happening again. And Bobby, I think you came on over the PA system, and this was so beautiful. You said something along the lines of like, we're about to see another chapter in the story of the only 2 players who have ever played in grand finals of a GenAssist. And I just like, I got chills. That was crazy.
That is crazy that it was real.
And it was real. Yeah. 4 straight GenAssist, Mango versus Armada. That is,
Mango was hyping it up, right? He was hyping it up where he was like, "Dude, it's gonna go to 5."
Yeah.
He got destroyed.
The 3-0 in 6 minutes.
He got tossed out.
Yeah, but everything leading up to that. Oof.
We have to go to a break, or can I tell one more GenAssist one?
Well,
everyone.
Can I yes and to that story about the grand finals? So after losing, and I was like, dude, like, you need space against Armada. Just go to Stadium, please. Like, and he was like, yeah, we'll go to Stadium. He loses game 1 and immediately goes to Yoshi's. I'm like, after the set, he gets 3-0'd. He was like, he walks up to me and goes, like, next time I decide to do something like that, or if you see me thinking about something else, punch me and like choke me like until like you convince me to go this. And that was the start of our coaching relationship. I told him to go Stadium, and he immediately went to Yoshi's. I was just like,
you gotta You gotta camp out like right next to him as he's counterpicking and react to the Yoshis, and you can do the LRA start like before the thing starts.
Yeah.
One thing I'd love to give GenAssist shout-outs for is the prominence of teams during a certain era at GenAssist. Basically, the way I look at teams' history in Melee is that it's gone up and down in terms of importance. There was the Ken Isaiah era, Broom Blue era, where teams was like equal to singles in some ways, and that peak Golden Age era. And then for whatever reason, there was an era of like the PewFat or Left and Ice, of UGS, like that entire trifecta, where it like returned to prominence to like be nearly as important for like a long time, for a few years. And those, to this day, those GenAssist teams finals, for those couple years they put it on the main stage, I think were like the most high level and best team sets that we've ever had. Like pretty clearly, not close, like to this day, basically. And like I always thought that was like super legit, and I really liked it. It's always tough because now we're at probably the lowest point in teams history. Like I don't think there's ever been a point in Melee history where teams has been less relevant. Like it's
Summit
like
doesn't even run teams anymore. Beyond the Summit gave up on teams.
Summit doesn't run teams. Most online tournaments don't run teams. Pretty much none of them do. And you're just not really seeing teams at all, which is like really weird as an old school player because it's usually like the 1-2 punch of Melee. But I look fondly back in that era of teams, and GenAssist was a big part of it, between the little circuit they ran and also, of course, the actual finals, which were just a big deal. So that's like one of the things that when I think of GenAssist, I think teams is a big part of the culture.
One thing I want to bring up about like my GenAssist memories, it's not so much one specific thing, but it's just kind of a phenomenon that I associate. Like, I think this is probably true of a lot of tournaments, but I associate most strongly with GenAssist, which is that for whatever reason, the Melee gods, the Smash gods have smiled upon GenAssist almost every year, and for all the missteps that happen at tournaments at GenAssist, you just always seem to forget about them because so much other great stuff happens at the tournament that like the bad things just kind of go down the memory hole. Like, who remembers the fire alarm getting pulled at Genesis 7? Like, nobody actually.
I don't
Was that the one in the middle of the night?
Remember that or talk about it?
I remember that, but
The fire alarm got pulled at the Genesis Hotel at like 1 a.m. and everybody had to clear out of the entire hotel.
Yeah, I definitely remember that.
I do remember that.
Oh, you know what? Now that you mention it,
I definitely remember that.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, that stuff just kind of goes down the memory hole because of just everything else great that happened at that tournament.
It does not even compare on the scale of, was it the effing dope tournament? It barely even registers.
Yeah, and Genesis 1, fraught with a lot of problems logistically, but what do people remember about it? Mango Armada, and that's the stuff that sticks with you the longest, more than anything.
Dude, I remember Zoo beating Mewtwo King, and Taj was like up on the stage, and Taj grabs Zoo and lifts him into the air, and we just crowd surfed Zoo. Like, everyone rushed the stage, and we were crowd surfing Zoo after he beat Mewtwo King. It was insane. Like, I'd never seen anything or experienced anything like it. I don't think I ever.
Remember, yeah,
Zane was just saying, we were doing, Radio Melee the other day, and Zane was saying, dude, I want to be crowd surfed one day. And I was thinking, I haven't seen that at a major since Genesis 1, which was 2009.
Dang. Yeah, what you're saying is super true.
Up. It's the happiest face I've seen in almost any person ever. When Zoo popped up from that setup after beating M2K, just like the expression will never leave my memory.
He was a kid again. I was super mad that he won that set, by the way, because I wanted a piece of him
at the time.
Oh,
yeah.
You're still East Coast Scar at that time. M2K.
That's absolutely right. I wanted a piece, and I thought that I was the best in the world because West Coast did not show up. Sheridan, you're totally right, and I feel like even what Rob was saying. So you didn't go to Genesis 1, right? East Coast did not really show up to Genesis 1. I remember going to a Chudat bi-weekly like a week or two before Genesis 1 and talking with people about West Coast doesn't know how to run a tournament. There's no way they could do a major like that in just 2 days. We read the Smashboards thread and y'all had like no setups. So there's definitely not a lot of East Coast out there. And I remember when Taupe was playing Silent Spectre. I'm sure that most of you know the story. Taupe the Sheik, super good versus Falcon versus Silent Spectre, and everybody hypes up Silent Spectre. At the time I was like, whatever, he's nothing. he's not as good as me. And my boy, the Sheik player, who I'm like, dang, he's gonna whoop this Silent Spectre fool. They sit down to play, and Jeff was he was doing some weird stuff, but I was like, nah, man, he's not gonna beat Taupe. Taupe's like too good. So Taupe wins game 1. And of course, there's a huge crowd because everybody in NorCal loves Silent Spectre. So it's like one of the Silent Spectre videos where, oh, Jeff! Stomp knee. Oh, you're so good. And I think for game 2, I kind of have the feeling that Jeff picked Brinstar. But anyway, when he locked in his counter pick, he like stood up slowly, Silent Spectre, and took off his jacket. That everybody around was like, "Oh shit!" And I was sitting right next to Taupe at the time, and Taupe was like looking at me, sort of like, "Dang, dude, you see what they put me through?" You know what I mean? It was like, "Dang, dude," and I was like, he said something to me like, "Should I do it?" I didn't know what he was talking about, but I was like, "Yeah, you should." And so then Taupe stands up and just takes his whole t-shirt off.
That's amazing.
Like Taupe was like, he's like a hairy guy too.
He's like 6'7",
and he's a big dude, So he just took his shirt and he sat right back down, right next to Jeff. And you remember back in the day, it's at CRT, so they're like right next to each other, and they lock in to play that last game. And Taupe made it happen.
That game was less close. And I think the funniest part was Jeff definitely just wanted to take his jacket off. Like he definitely was just feeling a little warm.
He was like, man, I'm a little bit warm.
Yeah.
But the crowd did it.
Yeah.
The crowd spun that into a tail.
Oh, I've heard.
Yeah, and I thought East Coast was so much better than West Coast from that tournament.
This all makes sense now. Like I think
East Coast was better back then. Besides
Taupe for Sound Spectre did not.
I can't believe you never heard that story, Joe Guy. That's like a classic Falcon history story.
I've heard like rumblings of this story, but like I pieced together puzzles. Like in the later set, I don't think Taupe for Sound Spectre, it's on YouTube, but it didn't have the commentary. But in the later set, there's a Taupe. There's commentary on Taupe, and I think Brandon's some like keep your shirt on in time or something like. And I was like,
yeah, it's because he had just taken his shirt off.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I think we gotta go to break or something.
We gotta go
to
break.
Let's go to break.
All right.
I have no sign off with it. We are back. And
We're back.
break, we were getting into a story about the grind PRs. And
we had, because we had I'll make this quick. We had an agenda for the show, and one of the things that we might potentially have talked about was just the concept of like, am I the asshole, right? The concept of AITI, am I the asshole? And Michigan, I got to give credit where credit is due here to the wonderful state of Michigan in Melee. Jogo Guy, you guys have developed an innovative system.
Yes.
Where you have developed a thing called the Grind PR.
We have
the Grind Power Rankings, a massive thread on Smashboards that I think is correct, kind of being updated to the States, been updated through the years.
Too massive.
And every time someone from Michigan does something grimy, they basically get bumped up, right? That gets added to your resume forever. And I think there's a story about Duck that I learned of yesterday that I don't think is on the Grind PR. I just wanted to tell it real quick.
I'm taking notes.
We could get some. Yeah, because I thought I should bring this up with you. So so Laudandis was playing Duck in tournament a couple years ago, and he plays Sheik. Right, Sheik's sitting there playing Sheik Samus, and the game was starting, and and Laudandis was plugging in his earphone, right? Because you have to strike stages, and then you're plugging in your earphone, and Duck click start, and they start the game. And he's still plugging in his earphone. So because he's plugging in his earphone, he's not holding A. So he starts the game as Zelda, and Duck runs over and clobbers the mess out of his Zelda as he's desperately trying to transform into Sheik. Which is, okay, sure. I think Duck didn't realize whatever. He thought he was just, okay. But later that weekend, Duck comes up to Laudandis and says, "Hey, what did you think of when I like beat the crap out of your Zelda because you forgot to transform? Because I think that's part of the game and that's a legitimate human error." And Laudandis was saying, "Bro, I was plugging in my headphones. I was literally, my hand was not ready to be on the controller." And Duck was like, "Why didn't you tell me to stop?" And Laudandis was like, "I did. I kept saying stop." And Doug was like, "Really? I didn't notice that at all." He's like, "Why didn't you like pause and stop the game?" And Laudandis was like, "Well, I don't know. I thought you would like take the game. It's tournament."
Yeah.
There's
like, and then come up to me later and say, "What did you think about how I took that
game?" Did you think that was really like, yeah? So, I don't know. I just heard this story and I thought it was criminal that Duck probably got away with this not being on the Grind PR. And as long as you're keeping score, which you are, I felt like this should be on the record.
Duly noted. I will forward it to the proper authorities.
Yeah.
And we'll get that updated.
Okay. And just remember that this is never confessed.
No, never confessed.
So that's an extra.
Came out through a leak, yeah.
Right. It was, It was attempted to swept under the rug, essentially.
Right? It's a long thread. Like, I'm looking at it. I pulled up oh my God. You guys have like a whole like novel in here for each person.
All right. What are we doing next?
Well, let's jump into it.
Yeah.
Categories.
Yeah.
Does everybody know what categories is? I didn't know at the beginning of this, so I'm sure that there is a sizable chunk of viewers who don't know.
It's a very simple game. Very casual. Just something I've been enjoying over COVID, like just online. But yeah, you got to come up with different responses to category prompts, and they all have to start with the same letter, which is presented to you at the beginning randomly. And a unique answer gets you a point. A repeat answer of somebody else does not get you a point. That's pretty much all there is to it.
And we're just trying to spam as many, valid answers as we can think of within the time limit.
Not really spam. There's 12 categories. You'll be able to get to them. We have 2.5 minutes. So it's mostly about thinking on your feet and being like, okay, here's a unique answer nobody else will think of. And I would like to have a house rule that you get an extra point if you make it Smash related.
Deal.
And you only put one answer per category.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But you have to be, and the goal is to be unique. You don't want to give the same answer as somebody else.
That's correct.
It's meta in that what if ever it's so obvious that nobody's going to do it, and so
I had a heartbreaking moment. We had to come up with countries that started with T, and me and somebody else both metagamed each other, and we both put down Turkmenistan, and we neither of us got points. We had no points for that.
How important is spelling?
All right, let's get into it. Let's go. Ready?
Does spelling matter? Okay.
Ready.
All right.
Okay.
Do we start right now or?
Yep.
Starting,
it should be on your screen. On your screen. Goes without saying, you should not be Googling or anything like that.
Okay, and we're trying to provide Smash answers, right? Ideally.
I'll say an extra point for Smash answers. Yes.
Oh, I have no time.
Oh my god.
Oh god. Oh god. This is hard.
I can't do this. I'm choking.
Oh, you picked a hard letter.
This sucks.
I didn't pick this.
I can't.
There's nothing in Smash that starts with H.
Wow.
Nothing in Smash. I agree. I actually agree with that.
I'm getting dead last. I've got 3 right now.
I'm stuck too. All right. God damn it. Not getting that one.
Okay. I did it.
All right.
Tough
So now we
go through.
Now we go
Mine's
through.
Embarrassing. Mine's embarrassing.
We vote on whether these are legit hobbies.
All right.
Holding down?
Yeah, I was trying to give like a
What
Smash
is it if
answer.
it's like
not supposed to say it was me.
All right.
Not supposed to say it was me.
I'm down. I don't know.
Healing heart hunting. When the healing heart drops down in melee, you have to hunt it. If you're playing with items on, this is healing heart hunt. That's 4 points right there. No
I don't like.
No.
I'm putting guess.
Wow.
I'm putting guess.
Wow.
This is for alliteration. All of those words start with H.
I love home run bat.
Yeah, home run bats. Does
All
home
right,
run bat get 2 points?
Home run bat.
Big fist bump to whoever put hockey helmet, since you know.
Yeah.
Everyone just tried to do a different thing into hockey. Very impressive. Good job.
I like him. Hungry
Bop's a good one.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
Harambe is a fantastic one.
That's hero of okay, fine. I like him.
That's right there. That's 3 points.
I
Blanked.
blanked.
High roll and it's Link. It's melee related.
I blanked.
Oh,
on this.
100 grand. Good job.
I
Snickers.
completely blanked.
I like his Snickers.
I don't like Snickers.
I'm gonna make that a point. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Home. Wow. No one can get this one.
This homie handshake is just.
Hey, this is my attempt at a Smash related thing. Okay.
I have to say yes.
That's actually really good.
What is a high rope?
I don't know.
High rope.
We're gonna give that a no.
We're gonna
I like
downvote.
it. I do like it.
Hungry Hippos. That's a good one.
That's
Hungry Hippos is one. Wait, there is a board game called Hotel. There is one. I played it as a kid. I'll look it up right now.
All right.
There is.
Yes, I said yes.
Fine. Footwear.
I think it's pretty fun.
Ooh.
I wonder if H sandals and
Yeah.
Huarache, isn't that
High
food?
heels.
Ooh, high heels is a repeat though.
That's a
No high
repeat,
heel
that's a
shoes and
repeat.
high heels.
That's a repeat. You gotta click no on that.
I'm gonna have to downvote the repeats.
All right, well,
That's a repeat.
I
They're all getting-
I don't get
getting
mine then.
downvoted.
Yeah.
Hella bulbs. Hella bulbs.
I'm gonna upvote hella bulbs.
I think hallways is a good answer. Hallways is a creative answer.
Oh. Half a control. Half a control. Is that after a rage quit? Or I'm gonna upvote that. I don't know.
That's technically you can bring that.
I was thinking
guess.
hilt. You're like a swordsman. You have to bring your sword. It's gonna be in a hilt. You know?
Okay.
That was
love
my thought
bulbs.
process there, but I guess people didn't like it.
Oh, horn toad. Love it. Love
Horn
it.
toad. Horn toad's an actual answer.
That is the
Very
actual
impressive.
answer. Big brain.
Good job.
God, these are hard.
Dang, somebody else said hood.
Oh, half muzzler's technically a part, right? That's technically a real thing, I
No,
think,
I'm
right?
saying no.
No, half muzzler. Like I literally just googled it. It's a.
I don't have any trust after half a controller. Like, half
That's true, but
anything has really.
I looked
shattered
it
my-
up and that's actually technically a.
Ooh.
Oh,
Half.
Oh my
dude,
God.
Hawaii,
Okay,
Hollywood
at
is
this point.
not a honeymoon spot. Have
Yeah,
you
I
guys
gotta say
actually
no.
been there?
I
But
gotta
if
say
you,
no.
well, you're saying that as a resident of LA, but I could see someone getting married somewhere else in the world and being like, "Oh, let's go."
And
to
it
Hollywood.
is
That seems-
subjective. It is subjective. So it's. Up
I'll
to the
give
vote.
it to Hollywood. All right.
Right.
A young Blur rises to the very bottom of the leaderboard.
Me and you,
I
me and you tied,
tied.
Blur.
I can't
feel like
believe I
I
got 2
voted all of
points.
Scar's answers. I feel like I upvoted all of Scar's answers. I tried really hard.
I can't believe I even got 2.
Want to play another round?
Yeah, all right. Can we get an easier
Yeah,
letter,
definitely.
please?
Yeah,
Dude,
I
I
don't-
don't more Smash answers.
I don't
I didn't
choose
understand how to
letters.
play at the
It's
beginning.
gotta be
I-
RSTLN.
I really hope it's not like X or Z. I'm just clicking new game.
All right.
All right, this is doable.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ugh, I'm about to get exposed for my lack of culturedness. Okay.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh god. Oh fuck. Oh.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Shit. Mm, mm.
Side note. Oh,
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Underground things.
Underground things.
Underground things.
Okay.
Underground things. Underground things. What does that mean? Anything can be underground if you put it there. God, dude.
Oh, shit.
Oh fuck. Come on, man. Ah, what are these called? Ah! I choked.
I choked. Ah, someone else missed Scar.
No.
Dan is a great name. Good
Damn
call.
it.
Dan is
Oh,
correct.
Stan.
All
Sweet Home
right.
Alabama. That's not a name. I was gonna put that, but that's not a name.
Name.
Not a name.
Which song has Susanna? in it?
Susanna
I'm
by-
down. I'm down.
Suzanne's correct.
let's go, Stan.
Okay.
Yes.
Good job. You buy
Like
a ticket to Smash Camp.
Smash and Slash is
Oh,
good.
I was
Stamp is
thinking
very
you
correct.
get tickets like you're getting pulled over by the police.
It's
Oh, you guys
multiple
are-
interpretations.
Showtime
Oh.
tickets at a movie.
Uh,
Super wave dashing too fast.
Yeah, you get pulled over by the Super Wave Dash police.
Yeah.
And they give you a ticket.
Who
I like it. I do.
on monitoring the super wave dash speeds on various setups at the venue? I don't.
Probably YCZ.
I'm not
I guess.
Downvote. I'm sorry.
Short hop fastball aerial.
My answer got canceled.
Shuffle's
Oh, salsa. Yeah.
It's two.
Shuffle's a good one.
All right. I tried.
Everyone says Serene.
Everyone says
Yeah.
I
thought that might happen.
Smartphones.
You just don't have time. Like I had to
Tell me you're not going to find a smartphone in a hospital, please.
There's one.
Sanwa buttons. I can't believe I got away with it. Nice.
Ooh.
Oh,
that's great.
Stinky aroma. All right, fine.
Stinky aroma.
I think that might be true. Are Sama buttons actually at the arcade?
What?
Maybe
A lot of arcades, yeah.
or something.
All right,
They're like the type of buttons that are used.
Okay. Ooh, Silent Spectre fans. Rest and rip.
Fans. I'll do
Scarduzio
Scarmata.
is not a nickname. That's
that's like the opposite of a nickname.
Very good answer.
You used that to arrive at a nickname.
That's the Zane nickname. Sexy yes. What? How is this not good points?
Who is Sam Muhana?
I've heard it before, but I don't understand what yes.
That's a Zane nickname.
Is it a name or is it just like a?
That didn't get a point. That should get 2 points.
Oh my god, dude!
I have to give that
very
one.
explicit.
I'll upvote succulent.
Succulent's a good one. Dude, Sweet got double canceled. I mean, double canceled. Left
Oh,
and
my
right.
next answer is going to get canceled, isn't it?
I thought scrumptious would be fine.
I see.
I know who'd put Superman.
Sea salt and carrot.
How do you know?
Because Superman is very much like a Michigan thing.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was going to say no. I was going to say it's not
real.
real.
Of course, Sheridan would know something geographical.
Oral ice cream.
I'm just getting
Sheridan
canceled.
with
Hey,
the
Saurophagonax is a dinosaur. That's a dinosaur.
Like Superman has Robin's fingerprints all over that. Oh,
Swine are definitely not.
Swine of hooves,
like hooves.
right?
What is the
Saurophagonax is a dinosaur. It's like an Allosaurus but bigger.
That is the coolest name of any.
I know my
animal.
son is just like calling all of his toys a Saurophagonax.
Do squirrels have claws?
No.
I mean, they climb. They must have something, but I'm going to say no because
I'm not Saurophagonax. Let me tell you what. No one could get magazines. I didn't know what to do.
Lots of good answers. Lots of good answer.
Salon's a correct answer. Yeah, that's a real magazine.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought okay.
I was thinking Nintendo Power. That's the only magazine I know.
Yeah.
I don't read magazines.
Scars Eco.
I don't even know how that could be underground.
Yeah, Bobby immediately downvoted that. That's impressive.
I thought about like thinking about a word that starts with blur, like blur's placements or something, and I couldn't.
Very impressive.
Dang,
no.
Very impressive.
I have to agree with that. Oh, S I do not think so.
Dude, that's fucked up. I'm gonna give that a downvote just because out of respect for Johnny, dude. That's fucked up.
Hey,
I'm upvoting that.
That is fucked up.
Come on.
That is
fucked up.
Fucked up.
Like you're right, but the truth hurts.
I voted no for us.
The truth hurts.
The truth hurts.
I voted soft because I was thinking of putting soft, but I didn't.
Look at Sheridan. Nice. How do you feel?
What is the difference between 11 plus 7 and 11 plus 6?
Those 2 rounds.
11 is
like
the cumulative amount.
Yeah.
So Sheridan
so I crushed it.
You won that round. Well, you tied with Sheridan.
Yeah.
Sheridan won that round. Very nice.
No, me and Scar tied, but I have the
Blur.
higher.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Blur, why do you think you're doing so much worse in the competition?
I suck at this. I told you beforehand I was going to get dead last of this. Word games are not my thing. I don't know why.
Should we do one more round or is that good?
All right, let's go into a break. Let's go into Ask
break.
Do we even need a break?
No,
I don't need a break.
We're ready to go.
Let's just go.
Let's
just do it. Ask MIOM. All right, what are we asking them?
Do we have?
I'm MIOM.
I see one right here.
Sheridan, do you have updates or do we just have?
Yeah, I've only seen one donation come in specifically for Ask MIOM, but I think we could talk about it. There's a lot.
We also have we have a few from last time that we didn't get to, so I can pull that up too.
Okay. Also, if anyone asks a really good question in the chat, I'll I'll just derail the conversation.
All right.
Okay.
It's like better than what we have.
I think we got a good one to start with. This is from everybody's friend Connor Kelly, who's helping out with this event, or who's helping out with the Ludwig program. But the question is, who is the retired player you most miss seeing play, or just seeing in general?
Okay, it's a good question. I'll start. I'll say Silent Wolf. There you go. Boom. Done. I gave mine.
That's a fantastic answer.
Done.
Couldn't be.
All right, next.
I gotta think.
What does it mean to be a retired player?
Yeah, there are varying.
Does it just
mean you have to be a top player?
I think it's up to you. I think you can define it as as long as it yields an interesting answer. I think that anything's on the table here.
There's so many good answers. Is the problem?
How do I choose?
Okay, Taffa, you go.
Yeah.
No, someone else.
I'll just I can just say Isaiah. I would say Dark Rain, but is he retired?
He's retired.
Pretty much.
He's retired, yeah, definitely.
G-Reg?
He's retired.
I have missed you. I would have listed G-Reg for many years as my answer to this question because he retired.
He regulate. He's got a family. He's got a very cute.
I think the tough question for me is like, I feel like the person I miss is the person I'm homiest with that doesn't go to tournaments. So like Silent Wolf would be up there because like I'd want to hang out with him. So it's hard for me to contextualize this.
What about seeing play? Focus on that aspect if it's easier.
Yeah.
His play style do you miss?
Oh, Kirby Kaze is a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, Kirby
Kaze is a good answer.
That's a great
answer.
Yes. Oh man.
I
already locked Silent Wolf down. If you want an easy one, you could always say Kirby Kaze.
Yeah.
As the sheet.
I'm trying to.
Yeah. I'll just say Kirby Kaze.
Easier ones.
How do we feel about PP's retire status?
He's retired.
He's streaming.
I like his current status, which is just providing content and being a part of the scene. So, I don't mind what he's doing now if he just does that forever. I think that's fine.
But I think he does want to come back. I mean, he still is. I don't know. He's still.
I guess spirit of letter of the law and spirit of the law. I feel like the spirit of that answer makes sense to me. Like the Rob, you're saying kind of how what PP brought to the kind of top level play.
Yeah, because I remember he came back GenAssist 3 or 4, and he still made top 8. Like I think he was in winners semis after not playing for like 8 months. So I wonder if he could work that magic again for like in a competitive tournament setting.
Okay, Homiest makes it really hard, and I would have way too many answers. Immediately, what will come to mind for that one would be Sung. My boy Sung is the homie. But like names that come to mind are like Fly Amanita, obviously Ken, Armata, as in I mean freaking Korean DJ. Man, there's been so many good players through history. If I had to pick
that
one,
you're supposed to pick one.
If I'm gonna pick one, I'd probably say Ken, because
yes, that's got to be the blur answer, doesn't it?
It's just Ken, dude.
That
I love
has
Ken.
to be the blur.
I love Ken. I love Armada too. So it's like one like okay,
it's like a tie. That's a
but Ken for if I had to. I was fourth pick.
If we're not counting Pew Pew is retired, because he would be my number 1 pick just to start.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Oh, that's
just
another
freshly retired. Yes.
Yeah.
He's an exhibition like coming up, so it's kind of weird.
Sheridan, he hasn't been retired long enough for you to possibly miss him so much.
You're wrong.
All right.
Yeah,
I guess.
I feel like he's very
also true.
missable.
Yeah.
It's been like a month though. Come on.
Yeah.
It's been a month.
Come back in a year, and I'll be like, yeah, he probably misses PPE.
I think the announcement was like a year ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was much longer than a month.
Oh my god, I just have
COVID times, Rob. Don't worry about it. Dude.
COVID times
Nobody
distort
knows
everything.
Nobody knows where we are.
My bad.
But I think as far as like who would I miss? Who would I most want to come back to the scene just to like enjoy their gameplay and their perspective on the game? I think I would have to go with Korean DJ.
Yeah. That guy was badass. He's just fucking badass. What a competitor.
Exactly.
I was thinking about going back and watching the Smash Bros. Documentary. Haven't seen it in a while.
Those slaps.
I think I've watched it.
I'm sure it does.
After usually after I'm like at 4+ times, it's just I don't watch things again. I think I've watched my last time.
I gotta throw in Duck, another kind of retired Smasher. Hasn't entered a tournament in quite some time, but I want to see more grind PR entries against Sheiks. That's always and Samus is all right too. Though if he came back, would he be a Sheik? What he's been playing?
I heard he switched to Marth. I heard he got so
tired.
Sheik, he's playing Marth now.
Sheik, Marth. It might not be Samus, so we'll see. All right.
I got another question. What are we doing about controllers?
No.
From Bobby Scar.
No.
Wait. I want to take this question in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you want to do with the controllers?
Me?
Do you just want someone to tell you it's okay that you're playing on a box? It's okay.
No,
and I think it's dope.
No, I just want to know where the conversation is, to be honest. Because I see little bits and pieces, but I like when the conversation comes together, when these perspectives butt heads. I just like that drama. So when I ask the question, that's kind of, I just want to see where it's going to go.
I can answer this. I think where it's at right now, if I had to answer this question succinctly, is I think most people, pretty much everyone agrees there should be some form of, they call nerfs from what the Frame 1 offers. And I think that people are just trying to, and I think people have gotten to the phase where they're kind of in the nitty gritty with the implementation details. And I think those implementation details are just difficult.
How are we going to come to an agreement on a philosophy? That's the other thing. That's a tough question.
Yeah, that's a tough question. But I think, if anything, I think we've made more progress there. I think most people are. I think if you ask the average person, they'd say that we want people to be able to play on rectangle shaped controllers for a variety of reasons. One of them being accessibility. And
don't we want to be able to run tournaments like with nothing, like no mod stuff? Or is that not a goal?
Some people want to be able to do that. A particular organization wants to do that. The rest of us, I think, we don't really care.
Yeah.
I think I talked to Nintendo for like 2 hours at the last summit about all this stuff, and it feels like there's a lot of progress towards like the background ideas and like values and principles that we have going into this, but there's a few really just crazy pain points that are going to be really difficult to solve. And I think the biggest one is what to do about PODE. And I think, without exaggeration, I think PODE might be the worst thing that has happened to the community in terms of.
You mean emulated PODE?
Yeah, emulated PODE. I just really wish that never existed.
And specifically, what about it? Software. You're saying like software that changes the nature of stick inputs. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, because it's basically what happened is like there's these magic controllers that have these magical properties for a very short time window. And now because of that, we have to bring every controller up to that standard.
Is that the Gooms? Like, what do you?
Well, that's not really.
What is the?
How much do we want to get into this? Because I can say a lot, obviously, but he's talking about the Goom wave. Yes.
There's so much I could say, but one thing
I would,
one thing I would say is like we're talking about dynamic analog remapping. It's not really emulation; it's actually just not. So that's just like a weird marketing buzz term. One of the hard things I think is that there's a lot of like marketing buzz terms from like the manufacturers, which have seeped into the ethos, which are just like red herrings and are actually not how they work.
Gotta throw that out of discussion.
But nonetheless, I think to actually give a serious answer of like where is it and what's happening with it is that like the group there's a subcommittee that was created that's like got a lot of good people in it. Toph's in it, I'm in it, Nintendo's in it, Practical Task is in it. You got like Drug Fox in it, Zoo's in it. Like basically a lot of really good people were working on this, and it's stalled for like over a month now, for some really good reasons. And because we kind of made a rule set, it's actually pretty much made, and then we're like, we hate it. So we're like, yeah, this is probably the best we can do with like in reason, and then we're like, but it's completely unfair. And then once we saw, like, but it's completely unfair, and a lot of us don't feel like the community or people would accept the most drastic measures, which might be the most fair, but they just wouldn't accept them, and so people are afraid to do basically, the things that would make a whole lot of people angry, and then to do the middle ground solutions, it's been really hard to figure out correct ways to nerf or buff one of the two control schemes to make them in line. It's actually impractical. I'm going to say it now. It's impossible. It's not actually possible to make it equal because naturally there's just too far of differences to really equalize that particular playing field. We've tried a lot.
Yeah, sometimes that's the reality.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not possible to equalize it.
So what do you do? That's why I'm so curious about this, because we're gonna have to make a bad, we're gonna have to make a
we're gonna have to make a bad
decision, and
decision.
it's gonna be a compromised decision. It's not gonna be a
when you
perfect
do
decision.
nothing,
If we could make a perfect decision in tournament, we would do it every time, Blur. You would be the best Marth to ever do it if you could make a perfect decision. But in this world, it's just not possible. We've got shades of gray.
We have to be practical. And so the way I put it is like there's one way of doing it, which is you nerf boxes to death and you buff GCCs and blah blah blah. And I even was like, bro, I'd rather have all of us switch to boxes than like nerf them to the pure ground, right? Like because it feels dirty. It's like just ban them instead. And so that never felt good. And so like the current status quo of we do nothing and everyone switches to boxes in due time seems to be the one that we're slowly headed to, because people are too afraid to do the bigger calls, which would be like
you want to ban them.
I'm not sure. Actually, I'm genuinely not sure.
I'm talking about because I don't think I
play on a box for you, and you want to ban them.
I won't play on. Sure. I'm probably not going to play on GameCube controller anymore, just because I don't have a controller, and it just takes time to get familiar with a controller.
I also think that but
that's the schism I'm talking about.
The hard part about like the more conservative standpoints is I hate a lot of these mechanics that are trash in this. Like I don't like how pivoting works in Melee, right? And things that make it easier, like
or dash back out of crouch. Like it's so annoying that's hard and inconsistent.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that's annoying the way it is.
The things I've always leaned to, and I don't know what the perfect solution for it is like I'd rather have us make software changes that alleviate this issue than basically the control
like UCF.
Yeah, like bro,
like it's weird that this is so hard. Like literally, I'm trying.
If we make the shield drop range bigger, or if we make dash back out of crouch better, or we make pivoting more consistent across controllers, like I'm actually the type of guy who mostly would rubber stamp most of that stuff. And even though I know a lot of people like Robin over here would hate that stuff, but like I'm more into that because I see when everyone's playing on a different controller, as I feel that's more unfair. Where it's like, yo, that guy can actually just do things I can't, like raw, right? And the more of that there is, it's bad, and it really makes me sad that we now are back in the COVID era, and we were in it for a year, and we had basically 3 months of legit tournaments, and they weren't really that legit. People in chat, we kind of didn't talk about a lot on the streams and stuff, but the Goomwave stuff that was happening completely undermined those tournaments. Like they completely delegitimized them. People were swapping firmwares every second. Like people were saying, just looking at everyone else, like, dude, my controller's completely busted. It's doing things I don't want it to do. Violence was running around.
Zane ended up not using his Goomwave. He brought it with him.
Yeah, and so Zane was lucky
that he was using his good old Cardano controller.
Cardano, like he had to switch back to a Cardano controller. So a lot of people didn't have a secondary non-Goomwave controller with them to like use as a backup, so they kind of had to make do. And even the ones that did were like, bro, I haven't practiced on this thing for a while.
This anecdote though, right? Isn't it more of just a cautionary tale for players? And what I mean by that isn't this basically all to say that you shouldn't rely on an experimental controller running an experimental
I think it's
build
also
if you're being a competitor.
I think it's also a cautionary tale for TOs and stuff. It's like basically when we just don't do anything, and we let things run amok, like, it's going to be on the players to do stuff, and a lot of times they won't, right? Because they're just, it's tough to navigate. Like, it's tough for us to navigate it and know everything about controllers. It's tough for them too. And so when they don't, I have sympathy.
I've seen so much misinformation.
Exactly.
And when I tune in, luckily, we have a task force together full of people in this call who's doing great work. I have And I have the Google Doc open, and it looks very
and
thorough.
nothing has been done for like a month, Bobby. So I don't know.
And so I'm glad that the answer to this question is that something is happening.
Something is happening, albeit slowly.
I will maybe I'll hit up Nintendo to say, look, if you need a messenger who's going to come to the people and tell them news that they don't want, I will be that messenger. And that's the end of our show. Thanks for watching.
I'm just looking.
Melee It On Me season 10 episode. Let's call this.
Let's go.
Let's call this 10.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Wait, we didn't even talk about the number one thing on this freaking sheet that I wanted to talk about. That's crazy.
What was it?
Wait, what was that?
What was it?
I want you guys had on the sheet the freaking Nintendo relationship, but I guess we're just not gonna talk about that. That's fine.
That'll be for the next. That'll be for season.
They rolled
10,
out the Kirby game, the Pokemon
category. You're talking about like
wild. It's got open world.
The most important thing.
Out of wood.
The most important thing for the future of our scene. That's chill.
They make good games.
Love those about Legends Arceus. Is that good?
Yeah.
That game's gonna be good.
I get it right now.
I haven't played it yet. I've just been watching someone play it on Twitch.
Does it look good?
It looks like garbage.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Oh my
Wait, why does it look like garbage?
My kid's into Pokemon. Watch it now.
Yeah.
Experience share.
You watch it like the cartoon?
Yeah, and we play it.
Isn't.
I'll tell you all about it. I'll tell you all about it. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching.
Everyone tweeted me and tell me if I should buy the new Pokemon.
Add me too.
And at Scar.
And me.
And
that's you guys' homework.
Everybody who's participating this and running this just to help us get through this situation. I appreciate you. I love you whether you're donating or not. Thank you for watching, and I'm really hopeful that we're going to put on a great show for everybody at Genesis 8, April 15th through 17th.
Yes, and I'll be there. I'll see everyone there.
+1. Said it perfectly.